playing by themselves. Usually with, say, an Astra pick, you can have them maybe play lonesome on A or C site without much of a presence, and then they're there for that late lurk for the post plant. But with Omen instead, you're limited by range of the utility, so you're not going to be able to have that immediately. But let's wait and see what Hayes' adaptation is as M80. Well, they're going fast in the B, Gus.
Yeah, again, so many things have changed. They've also changed out Sova for Sky, or excuse me, Sky 4 for Sova. Over towards mid, we're going to see the change from the KJ to the Cypher. It's going to be 7 on the front lines, playing off of a different Sentinel, but not going to get any sort of contact. M80, almost with a pure fake, going out of that mid side, all 5 players going back. But the good thing here for TSM, not a single player is rotated, no shifting.
Yeah, I like this call here. 7's utility spread across the entire map as well. Hayes does have the dark cover down on B in case anyone lurks up, but the entirety of M80, they're all barreling down C long. It's only that single tripwire stopping everybody.
Yeah, it's gotta be nature. Hayes just walked through the smoke and he goes all the way down. 3 players taking him down. But here comes nature. Wide swing. Full flash too. The re-exec is good. How many kills can nature get here? Big headshot onto John QT, but there goes the clear of the back sides. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
3 players fast in the rotation for TSM, and all 3 go down to the back of site in one fell swoop.
And we talked about it in the pre-show, how we're expecting to see a little bit more from Koala Noob today. And let me tell you, that first round absolutely showed up, had that initial contact there with the tripwire, was spotted out before anybody else, and yet through all of that and the confusion of the various fault lines and all the utility all over C, it was Koala who found the 3K to utterly eliminate TSM in the beginning. And I was about to sit here complimenting TSM's defense. They had all of their lines covered, but now M80's going to swap it up. They're playing still just as fast, but they're playing in a split push now. Nobody on TSM's holding C whatsoever. They're looking for contact outside of A.
I feel like you can still compliment them while also losing. They did a good job of mitigating that pressure, just trying to play up as a group in the back of sight. But again, M80 just better in terms of the aim. And in this type of round, you want to see a one-off strat from TSM, or you want to see, again, an organized effort. That's indeed what we see. 4 players pushing up out along. It's going to be EU taking down Hayes, and then Bester Flawless for the second round here of our first map. And all right, we can get back into our storylines because, again, TSM, M80, I mean, these 2 teams are relatively fresh. It's M80 who's playing only their second official here, and TSM, yeah, they have some decent tier 2 experience, but against some former tier 1 teams, not much whatsoever. This might be their tallest task yet as a team, outside of course, teams like the Guard.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. And of course, Hayes has a long history with the core of M80 here, going as far back as 2022, but before we get back into that, a lot of initial sprays coming out from Corey's side. M80, they're picking and choosing wherever they want to go. They're reading into the counter strat of where 7's utility's been placed every round, at least thus far, but there's 3 of TSM stacked up on A and outside of sewers. They're just waiting for that push up again, Gus, but TSM, they're playing slow. Luckily though, this is great for a mini retake.
Well, it is, because they have full control of short right now, but again, M80 is completely compensating for this. They've isolated it, and now they're retaking it. The Stingers start to emerge, and now they finally get the first frag, but again, long control is still taken out by the Jet. Corey runs away, trying to take on more pressure, but again, Spike hasn't been planted yet. Corey has come back to sight and has gotten yet another frag. How is Corey still alive? How is M80 not planting the Spike?
Oh no. A little uncharacteristically non-verbose coming out from M80. They're usually good at barreling down a site, but this time they're hesitating. They had full A site control. Corey's there to strike back, and now it seems like they're almost forced to back off. There's double contact being held outside of A on both places to push in, but for M80, they only have 30 seconds left. They don't have time to rotate.
Corey, don't want to get wall banged here. 7 around the corner. Going to be able to get the first. Definitely a few more to go. Nismo out. And the spray through the smoke almost taking down Xander. Xander pretty much with no choice here other than to maybe walk on out. 9 seconds left in the round. His teammates go down in one fell swoop in front of him. He has no other option other than to run. TSM going to be taking up their first round. But again, You can mark it as a bit of an M80 mistake. They put in so much pressure onto that short side to try to re-clear it, and it ended up opening up A again.
Yeah, I think that re-clear, like you said, is definitely where the crux of the mistake was for that round. We saw so much of a presence down there, but when TSM started fighting back, M80, they kind of tucked their tail and run back down towards the extremities, and by then, TSM was ready to go for a mini retake themselves. Now, for the most part, for TSM, there were rifles in their hands, but bodies had gone down. There is that reinvestment back into TSM, but not fully. GMD and Nature, well, they're stuck with Bulldogs. But M80, this is one of the first rounds we've seen full rifles in their hands.
Did they hear that?
Oh, Gus, Xander's already ready.
It's Xander. Yes, this is going to be the first one there. But what? What
just
a
goes back and
headshot
forth
from John QT. Dry through smoke like a magnet. Bullet straight to the forehead. But again, all of this pressure from M80 back over towards A long. This, the entire time, has been the intention to default. Now it's just John QT making all this noise, or was making noise. Not anymore, though. He's just holding on to long and seeing if anyone clears. Indeed they do, and it's still 8 HP left for John QT. One person still on the other side, but it's only going to be the one. The trade comes in. It's going to be a 1v2 here for Hazed.
Oh, no. Has so much more of a distance to re-clear. Luckily, though, Hayes does have most of his utility to work off of, but so does Nismo. Fault line, the recombo from EU as well.
Staying in the same corner.
Yeah, they're not
so
even
smart.
playing for long.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
but the
no way
paranoia
that they
misses.
expect this. Hayes is just never going to expect two players here. He's going to clear the first.
No?
He's going to clear the first. And okay, EU takes him out first. I was gonna say, Hayes gets that first kill, doesn't expect the second, just walks onto site, all good. 3-1 going back towards M80 though, and again, you could just contribute it all to this long play.
Yeah, I gotta say with M80, I love how aggressive their gunfights, especially in the early rounds, have been. They look clean, they look concise. Even the anti-flash play coming out from Xander in the beginning really had a lot of impact, denying TSM to push up and find a lot of impact. So far, almost every single round, Gus, we've seen TSM attempt to do that, and very rarely has it found a positive result. Sure, it's only 2 rounds ahead. Not even a default this time coming out from M80. But my God, they're going fast.
It's the only thing that TSM can do. Again, pistols
flashes.
might as well combine the efforts. Might as well go into one choke point, but it just didn't happen. Only one player gets taken away from that, and it's a TSM player. EU is going to get the frag onto Hayes. The rotational frag almost coming in. It's just not going to happen. Plant is going to go down here for M80. Again, CSM. Haven't seen Haven from them in a while. And Haven hasn't always been a decent spot for them.
Oh?
It's really just going to have to come down to how they adjust. We know TSM's good at mid-rounding. We know that this team is good at adapting. How can they step up now for the rest of this game, especially now that you have such an aggressive M80 already heating up on the attack side?
Yeah, only 3 left alive for TSM. Fault line goes down. No chance to save these weapons either. TSM, they're working with pistols and stingers.
I would like them to die here, though. This is 2 ultis.
Yeah. I think they're just looking for exits at this point. They know it's just pistols.
Oh, it's going to give EU Hunter's Fury.
Ooh, that's an ace coming out from EU. Wow, what a quick ace. That was like the stealthiest ace we've ever seen in Challengers. That's unbelievable. And I mean, the beginning of that round was just so aggressive too, right? You're seeing flash after flash after flash, and you would think that's where the crux of the battle is going to be. But EU is just able to find so many 1v1s throughout that entire round that, yeah, it was an ace, but it wasn't like, it felt like such a normal play coming out from him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. This is what we were saying last week with EU. This guy is he's consistent, but he's just quiet. He has so many good lineups. He helps out his team in almost any situation that they need it. That's the 1v1 though that we were focusing up on before the game started. Corey versus Koala Noob in the 1v1. The ops come out, and it's Koala Noob instead that wins the battle. But again, EU, a good consistent threat on this team, especially when he's on a Sky, especially when he's on a further utiled agent other than Sova. With the Hunter's Fury, he can do so much. TSM, not a single person in the middle of B right now. They're just depending on the tripwire.
Yeah, this is a good reset. Good regroup from M80. Owl Drone's purposely going to go into the tripwire. That means now they could lurk anytime they want for the rest of the round. And look how spread apart TSM is. You can see Nature in the far back, pretty much near spawn. You'd think he's AFK, but he's waiting to hear that spike go down on B.
Exactly.
Hunter's Fury is waiting. But instead,
and also he needs to be close enough to actually Hunter's Fury A2. He might be too far away if he's all the way over on C.
Yeah, luckily though, the call's been made that C's gonna be having a lot more pressure, but now after taking out GMD, the call's been made to re-rotate back over to A. Now he's certainly in range for the Hunter's Fury. All that matters now is getting that spike into the ground.
I think he might just shock dart instead, but he's going back towards spawn. He might use it if they're even trying to retake. It's 3 players left here for TSM. Their economy is all the way down in the dumps. And there is no way that they're going to reattempt this. Well, this is good, though. Save up.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's plenty of rounds defensively to use the Hunter's Fury. And given that, you know, Nature was already hiding in the back of spawn, waiting for that B-side plant, we haven't seen a B-exec from M80 just yet. But all it takes... Oh?
I was just going to say, that was a hot spot last week, too. M80, they started last week with a... I think it was dash B exec into a knife immediately from Koala Noob. So, yeah, realistically, this entire map has been targeted by M80 and TSM. It kind of looks like they've been playing around that, playing off-site B, only playing with one piece of util in the middle there, and instead playing players in link. You can kind of see the respect there from TSM.
Yeah, a lot of respect has been given, but their economy has had a lot of troubles. Luckily, though, for the most part, they can kind of buy up this round. Someone like Corey is going to be suffering. We are going to be going to a timeout, though, the first of TSM. Ooh. They're down by 4 rounds. And I like the respect that we're seeing TSM give M80. The issue is that there's a lot of these aggressive initial gunfights coming out at the beginning of these rounds that TSM has not been able to win. One thing we can highlight is, you know, we saw the initial up fight from that last or 2 rounds ago did not go in TSM's favor. M80 are just hunting. They're praying for all of these initial gunfights, and there hasn't been a situation where they've lost one in like the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, again, we saw this a lot from the core of M80. Koala Noob would be on that front side, Nismo right behind him for the trade, and right behind him is John QT to anchor on in. But more importantly, I mean, again, this M80 squad, we're not seeing anything all too complicated from them in terms of their overall approach. They really are just waiting for any sort of individual approach from TSM to come in, waiting out their time, and then scaling up together. I mean, if you're M80, and with the utility that you have here, there's not much that you can really do step by step, or overall, excuse me, to be able to one-shot exec. You might as well scale and take things slower.
Oh, but look at Hayes. Look at this now adaptation off of the timeout. Hayes and 7 playing a lot more dominant towards speed. They're expecting M80 to go for a different approach after the timeout, and we're kind of seeing that. A little bit more sort of defaulty from M80, but TSM again, even if it's a double contact Gus right outside of A lobby, they're still looking for that first gunfight.
Yeah, they know it. Yeah, they know they just completely lost a main here, and nobody's watching mid. M80 is slowly losing every part of this map except for C. You do have the op held up by Koala Noob. That might be the most important part of this, especially if someone from TSM ends up peeking. M80 opting to re-clear a main. Don't think they saw the breach. They didn't.
Oh, no.
They absolutely didn't. They would have kept someone there to try to fight instead. They spot the jet. They might have even spotted him. They might have seen the numbers too. You never know, actually. Here we go. It's going to be a couple players in the back of spawn, essentially, here for TSM. Not a single person here on site. It is going to be the retake set up for TSM.
Oh, look at Eu's positioning. Just waiting to see if that flank comes through, and EU would be right. Ooh. But GMD and company, they're not going to risk going towards C-Long.
Hayes waits for it, and he gets it. Well done from Hayes, but Nismo holds down Garage. 3 players still coming from TSM spawn. There finally goes Garage. Fault line going in, rolling Thunder into Garage. TSM has been slowed down even further, and Xander just walks out of smoke while he spike cam darted. 2v2 though. Koala Noob gets a big shot, and now it's a 1v2. John QT, where's the util? Where's the shot? Where's the angle? Hayes has no chance. Koala Noob takes up a big round once again. 6-1. TSM. How do they get themselves back into this game? They need this next round.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the economy again. If they don't win this next round either, Gus, it's not going to be looking good for them for the rest of the half. But I got to really compliment the patience of M80 in the early rounds here. They saw the dark cover going down lobby. They were expecting someone to push up, and that would have been GMD and company. But instead, they play to see where the least path of resistance will be, going for that execute. And that last round was C. Really, the only thing stopping them was that eventual Omen smoke and the tripwire. But even then, that wasn't enough. Now, a bit more of a default again. Xander's going to overextend, and Corey, top of box, has the right read, but just needs to play this timing correct. But Xander, he doesn't need the push-up. He's just waiting to see if anyone overextends again from TSM.
Xander is a very pivotal agent for the rest of this round, though. They would need that smoke in his hands.
How did that not hit?
Koala, did he get a pick?
No, you would think.
Did he get damage there onto nature?
He did. A lot of damage, but somehow that looked like a direct shot. I don't know. But regardless,
Such
though,
a sick shot.
Nature's...
3 players on A here, though.
Yeah.
The ultis down the line. I mean, this could just be the lockdown round for TSM.
This was the one round they did win against M80 when there was a 3-stack on site, but a lot of that was overheating from M80. They've played a lot more dialed back since then. 40 seconds
is the
left.
first contact. And he has a Rolling Thunder too. He needs to stay alive. There goes Koala Noob. Gonna be able to get the first frag. 2 players in the back of sight. And finally, the Rolling Thunder comes in. Here comes the cleanup. Hayes gonna be able to get the kill on the Koala Noob, but the 2 players have been stuck all the way over towards long. Xander needs to clear sight on his own, and he's only able to clear 1. 2v2 though. Still possible, but Nismo gets exposed. EU's about to get exposed too, but huge headshot, but misses out on 7. Once again, the A-hold works out for TSM.
Yeah, really impressive A-holds, holding 3 on site. This time, not even playing into the fact that M80 overextended the first time TSM had won. It was just a straight defensive hold, relying on utility, a lot of anti-spacing off of the Hunter's Fury, and just playing for trades worked out so well for TSM that if I'm M80, I'm not looking towards going A again for a long time. There's not too many more rounds for the first half. C has worked 100% of the time, and keep in mind too, we have not seen M80 approach B site yet. They've been using it for lurking potential somewhat, but again, Koala Noob is just setting the tempo here, going so fast. But 7 gets 2.
Are you kidding me? M80, how do they win this round? 2v2, make it a 2v1. They will not win this round. TSM, 5 players on the C side of the map, completely calling out M80. I mean, if they go B, you have 3 players in Link. You go C, you have 2 players on site. I mean, again, that was just a momentum shift around. That's what TSM wanted, but there's still more work to do.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, both these teams have struggled in the past with those first maps of each series. And so TSM, it looks like to me, they're warming up so much more now. They're able to go for these reads against M80. They're prepared for C and B site takes. And now look at this. There's that other 3-stack outside of A again, but there's no presence of M80 at all. A deep tripwire from 7. The spy cam is there for inside of garage. 7's ready.
Oh, 7 in the middle of the cage, gonna be able to get 1, make it a second, walking on out, still has Nismo in front of him. 7, a massacre in front of him, 4 kills for 7, as now it's a 1v3. John QT has nano swarms to use, has some space now, but by the time he plants, the players in garage are gonna swing him. John's gonna get all 3 pixels on his screen very soon, but a minute left in the round. He could realistically be anywhere. Waiting for him in garage. Corey has the angle. John's looking for the head. Had the headshot angle, but had to flick back to Corey. 4-6. Another big round for TSM. And that one is a momentum shift for sure. 7 proving himself finally.
Man, and look at the way 7 completely shuts down C site. If you have A shut down by just raw manpower, and 7, tripwire is down, spy cam is up, all of the smoke and anti-visual utilities that you can use, M80 are almost left at a loss. There's a reason why they're going for that timeout before approaching B site. They're using that as their ace in the hole and maybe even like their very, very last resort. But I like the idea of the timeout here. This is a good chance to go for the reset. Like you said, TSM going for this big momentum shift. What's a better way of destroying that momentum rather than a timeout? Slow them down.
Right. Exactly.
Let them cool down. And now M80, if they go for that defaulty reapproach again, they can just mid-round back to C site and probably find more success for the half. They're already good for the half itself.
Right. But absolutely want more. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Especially against that attack side. TSM, I feel like with this group, it can be so unpredictable. I mean, it's the same comp, and we're seeing M80 all over this map, and they still haven't hit B yet.
No.
B, which was, again, a hot spot in the last game, still hasn't been hit by this team. And TSM, you can see them continuously setting up for it. 3 players in the middle of B. I'm sure M80 doesn't know it. But if they were to make a fast take really anywhere here, they could be able to get something done.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
I love these reapproaches from TSM. They're expecting B after every single timeout. But M80, they're playing this big brain game of making sure they just never approach B. It's all that conditioning. But John QT is 1 ult point away from that lockdown. Baiting it out, waiting, ready, just looking for that opportunity to use it, probably on B into the next round. But instead, that slow lurk up to B doesn't find much. The aftershock goes down. No one's behind bricks. But what they don't realize, though, Gus, is that 7 has A site lockdown, a first for the series.
Absolutely, he does. The trip is so deep, though. Surely they're going to assume something. Assume that there is, of course, control of some point. At some point.
Oh,
You're in
it's
short.
spotted.
Yeah, but 7, once he sees that tripwire go down, he has the breach ready to react with utility. But there's only one person here on A.
Swarm grenade.
This is going to be a retake setup from TSM, if anything, and it's going to be the same game of chicken that we saw in the very first round, with Corey instead running back over towards mid, but he's actually exposed himself. He's exposed himself entirely. 7 gets spotted. The site is theirs. It's going to be a 4v5.
And through all of that, not a single piece of 7's utility had popped off. No ultimates for TSM to work with here. There is some heaven control from at least 2 of TSM, but they have to time this perfectly and play together. There's that lockdown.
Very good rotation back, but Xander might have just been a bit too impatient. He is going to re-clear it, though. Hazed hasn't come up yet.
Oh, I think Hayes is looking for exits.
Passed. Yeah, time has passed. They are going to be playing for exits, but not even... I mean, these positions for TSM back up towards spawn is a lot safer than you would expect, but it is going to be the exits. You see the cash at TSM. I honestly think that they could have scrapped together a buy going into the next round, but keyword is scrap.
Yeah.
They really wanted something confident going into the next. Vandals are going to be in their hands. Full utility. One last big chance.
Yeah, and I could see the mindset of TSM2 being like, look, at the very worst, we go 8-4. It's not the end of the world, but if we make sure our economy is decent and we could really force buy the maximum we can for this final round, then we're almost guaranteed that 5-7. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. 7 has Neural Theft. That's the only ultimate that we could see on the board this round from TSM's side. EU does have the Hunter's Fury. If they go for orb farming here, they have a great post-plant potential, but Xander dodging, weaving through the fault line. Oh, Corey! Oh, that's good. Through the dark cover, Xander goes down.
Yeah.
GMD! It was actually GMD that ended up getting it, so okay. Long gets taken down. M80 going back over towards mid, but again, you remember the setup for TSM back over towards B. It was strong, but it's because they had 3 players here. Now instead, it's the rotating players up from Link unexpectedly needed to do something. And as always, it's Kowalanu blasting through the door. Going in, taking out 2 for the back line. And still more work to be done here from M80. Lots of damage already being done to GMD, and he finally goes down. 1 more player remaining, and they're gone. M80 turn a 4v3 to a 3v none. A dominant ending to the first half. But TSM, again, we saw them heating up at the beginning of this half. Really throughout this half entirely. getting some sort of counterplay against M80, but it had to come down to the patience. Now M80, they're the ones that control pace.
Yeah, let's talk about that counterplay for a second. Every single round, that first half from M80 either ended on A or C site. It was that final round where there could be no post-round adaptations afterwards. Did we finally see M80 go and plant that spike on B site?
Ridiculous.
I know, right? And that just goes to show the conditioning factor that M80 really relies on for their attack. But now that TSM swapped sides, remember the only core change for agents is 7 on that cipher compared to at least M80 okay, EU. But they're not letting go of that tempo at all.
Oh no, it's a tragedy.
Oh
it's an
no.
absolute tragedy. Xander had so many players stunned in front of him, but it's a 3v3 still for his team. But oh my goodness, a massive opportunity to give them essentially the pistol, but a lot of damage has been done. Corey, 7 down to half. Qualinoob does get the first pick, might need to back up. And doesn't make it. What a shot from GMD. Tracking him through the wall, a headshot midair. John QT now. A 1v2 with Corey right in front of him. 30 HP. The info is not there. Finally spots him, but no! No.
Look, really good tempo setting from TSM again. M80, they took what TSM did for the defense, played aggressive in the first 30 or so seconds of the round, but I gotta say, TSM, they were prepared for a lot more. They were good for the counter adaptation. M80 played for 1v1s. They felt something a little bit more than 1v1s against them. It was usually like 1v3s going up against the entirety of the core, but when that doesn't work out, it's a quick, swift round for TSM. They need 3 more to catch up and even things out with M80. And I think the big question I have going into my mind in this second half is, Gus, when are we going to see TSM go for a B-side play? Because it was the last round for M80. And TSM, surely, they've been setting up for it so much on their defense, they must go for it a lot sooner. But they're not.
I'm sure.
They're going C instead.
I don't know if that'll be the mind game later.
It might be.
But I don't see why not. Do unto others what they do to you.
Yeah. But this is a really good post play here. TSM, they have full coverage of C. 2 groups of M80 attempting to push through. The dark covers are down, blocking off C long for Hayes and the rest, though. I'm sorry, for the rest of M80. Xander and company, though, going for it. Recon bolt was down. Oh, no.
GMD's gonna get exposed. He's gone, but it's still an even 3v3 here for TSM. The SMGs combine to take down the back of site. Good stuff from TSM, keeping, again, possession of the middle of site, not giving that up and playing the post plant. But now going into the next, rifles down the hands of M80. TSM have been losing out on a lot of guns in the last 2 rounds, or in the last round. Had 2 players die there, and they are indeed reinvesting a slight bit. Only 1 player able to rebuy a rifle, but he's not even gonna do so.
Oh, smart play from TSM. They know the economy
to take
game.
out util.
Yeah.
Util mid.
A lot of util mid. A good setup here. A big test for M80. They have their first rifles here. No one's quite close to the ultimates yet. But again, this...
Gone.
Look at M80's placements, though, of their players. All spread out. Very little contact trades.
3 players here for M80, though.
For B-side, too. That spike, it's geared its way towards B. A lot of utils down.
Spike is ready. Qualinoob gets exposed. Here comes Nismo. Nismo can't get anything done. Corey just running on through the smoke. Going through the deep waters. And taking whoever he can get 6 feet under. Hayes doing the same, though. What a shot. What an angle. John QT and Xander. A combined credit account of 200 credits between the two. And surely they have to save. They're not even going to do so. They're not going to save for the next round. They're going to go for the ult points. They fight and they're gone.
Yeah, really good choice to stack up towards B. Even if the contact angles were there from M80, it wasn't enough. That was a conscious decision at the beginning of the round to purposely not buy rifles from TSM. They understood that the Cloudburst, the Cyber Cages, any piece of utility that makes sure M80 can't see a dang thing approaching the site would work out well in such a claustrophobic environment. And because of that, 3 rifles across the board for TSM now into this next round. And they only need 1 more to tie things up. And again, big brain picture scenario, TSM, they had their first full rifles up against a very broken buy of M80.
Oh, wait. Over in mid, you had such a good opportunity for Koala Noob. Ends up going away by Corey. Now, the rest of M80, I mean, this is uncharted territory, or at least you might be feeling some of the same jitters that you got last week when OR ended up getting closer and closer, ended up closing up that gap. I mean, there was a point where M80, I think they lost 10 out of 11 rounds, and it was just attacking dominance. They couldn't get anything going on that defensive side. And listen to this stat line. Even though they took that loss, and a great kill from Nature, by the way, but it was 27-5 in terms of defensive rounds for M80 in the last week. 27-5. So if there's ever a side that M80 can succeed, it has to be on this defensive side. Here we go. It's going to be all 5 for TSM going out and all 3 for M80 here. The Stingers work. 2v2 now. Hayes, what a kill through the flash. 47 HP left on Xander. There is no way that Hayes does that.
Oh, a lot of economy damage right there. But again, TSM, despite going up against the broken buy, they still inch their way barely out on top, evening things up against M80. But going back to your original point, Gus, you're completely right. 86% of those rounds so far that we've seen in Haven on challengers from M80 have been a success for their defense. But the issue...
listen to this. 27 of 5 on defensive rounds, period.
Yeah,
period.
across the board, you're completely right. But when M80 have not been able to balance themselves out, especially on a 3-site map like this, it's easier said than done. And oftentimes we're seeing TSM, the core, going up against individual members of the team, only with the small amount of rounds that we have. But Corey does it again.
Corey gonna walk on through the smoke. There's gonna be more players trying to trade him out. Sander does eventually get him. TSM do have a gap back into C, though. The players needed to back out to try to fight Garage. Good stuff from TSM. Another split approach gets them the site.
Oh, now what are you gonna do here? No ultimates really to work with besides Xander's. Information's good, but they're all grouped up together.
Oh, they're all out. They're all isolated by the smoke. GMD is going to be the first contact here, and hopefully he calls for a swing. Going to be able to... Oh, no, he doesn't get any damage onto Xander. Instead, here comes Hayes. Hayes picks up the big kill. Same thing with Nature, and they don't know about 7. 7 in the murky waters.
Oh, no.
Picking up 2 frags, and he picks up another one through the cover. We are seeing the first lead for TSM on this map, and at a pivotal time. We just saw the rifles from M80 get broken.
Yeah, we got to give a lot of credit there to Corey. I'm glad we have this replay. Pushing in, finding the exploit. No cipher from M80 means a lot less presence for these lurking angles, such as Garage, are able to push up, find so much distance. And Corey, for the most part, has been able to find the opening pick, completely disenfranchising M80 in the process off of it. We got to keep an eye on Corey here for the beginning of each of these rounds. Just barreling in. But look at Koala Noob doing the same exact thing towards Garage. I'm sorry, B main, but...
Right, over towards mid. Here comes Koala Noob. Here comes Nature and GMD.
Good shutdown.
I have the angle in mid, but they just needed something desperate. They needed the knives to come up with something. Xander has a stinger. Long range with Hazed. Hazed has been so safe this entire map. Almost every single angle I see this guy peek, it's always a slow pixel peek. Is securing himself those single interactions. Here comes 2 players here from Medi in the middle of sight. They don't know about Nismo. They don't know about Nismo. They don't know about Nismo. Nismo is unknown.
He's still hiding. No shot. Nismo. No, Corey.
It happens. The stinger is just that way, but Corey's just better. The flick back gets him. And EU used the Hunter's Fury at the beginning of the round. I mean, it's almost a perfect time, really, or at least a perfect time in the game to be able to use it. Because EU, you want to see him charge it up again by the end of this game. TSM, I don't think they're really going to lose out on much momentum. If M80 start to make their comeback, their cash is about to reach max. Reset potential is in the dumps.
Yeah, and EU at this point just looking for a cursory takedown here. And a crumb of anything here with just pistols left.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but the Sheriff, it's not going to be enough. Top of heaven, unlike Rapunzel, forced to back down eventually. And everyone from TSM, they can run away. A great, flawless round from them, though, in EU. Forced to kind of go down with the spike as well. I gotta say again, this entry potential from Corey, despite these distracting, aggressive push-ups from M80 at the beginning of the round, Corey does not care about any of that. They find a singular path, they run it down, and they slow at a certain point. They find the crux of where, say, John QT's utility is going to be. That in that last round, it was the alarm bot on top of bricks. They stop at that point and let the rest of TSM catch up, and that's when Corey re-aggresses forwards and was able to catch up people like Nismo, just hiding away in the back of A. And now it's double digits.
It's almost a completely different look from the TSMs of old. It's a lot more disciplined, folks. Koala Noob, though. Here comes the off specialist. Pulls up 1 kill onto Corey once again, but the Rolling Thunder overwhelming the entire site. They need to run away.
Good shutdown, but still TSM, they make their way onto A side. The Owl Drone's going to spot exactly where GMD is going to plant. Is there anything going to stop it? Oh no!
Wait, nothing connects. Koala Noob looking for 7 potentially, and this lockdown. Such an important lockdown here for M80. They're not finding any gaps into the site. They have the lockdown. Surely, yes, they do. GMD is going to be able to take it down. 2 players for M80, both stuck in heaven, but they're actually going to drop down right with a Rolling Thunder, and it might just work. Nismo looking for the spike, but it's not covered by the smoke. He's going to try to fight this 1v2, and he only has 13 HP. It's planted for them. He has no chance. 11-8. M80 are going to go down, potentially to pistols. I don't know if they're going to force up or not, but this is a red carpet to 12-8.
Yeah, and you would think that could go in M80's favor. Koala Noob shut down Corey at the beginning of the round, but even then, TSM, they were not deterred. No hesitation whatsoever. Continue to push and aggress into Koala even after they lose their entry. And I gotta say, GMD, great trade there. Nismo really saved the day. That Owl Drone never even spotted Nismo in that final engagement. But I like this call here, Gus. Finally, we see M80
really
go for their final timeout.
It's happy. For those who have been fans of TAC FPS, I mean, you know him, you love him. Long tenured career in IGLing, in just being a part of top TAC FPS squads. And I mean, this is his first task in Valorant. To take a team who are subverting their own expectations in terms of success, I mean, this team needs a boost right now, and it's absolutely the time to do it. But 11-8, is it maybe a bit too late? They started this half at 8-4, and again, I say deja vu from last week. ORE, they pretty much went perfect in their second half to beat M80, and we're seeing it again this week. This time on their defensive side of Haven. Again, the defensive side that overall they have only dropped 5 rounds so far, and they've dropped, if I'm not mistaken, 4 already on this D side.
Let's wait and see what the adaptation will be this time. TSM pretty geared towards C site this time around. B7 playing, oh, they're lonesome, looking to see if anyone pushes up aggressively towards C or just barreling it down.
Got more.
Yeah,
here we go. Corey's going to be on the front side. There's going to be 2 players in the back. The knives come out. John QT isolated, but no frag. And Xander hasn't been spotted. It could be all on Xander, but GMD goes out with the flash and is still able to get the frag. M80, we're already setting up from the beginning, just trying to see what Xander could do in the middle of sight, but they're going to play for retake now. They're going to wait for their teammate.
Great double contact, top of logs. Tripwires down. You can hear it, but can they spot it? Oh, I think Nismo's aware. But jumping is going to be so incredibly difficult to do.
Here we go! It's going to be the push out. Double kill from Koala Noob! 1v3 now, and Hazed is going to start it off with a big kill onto EU. Wide swing from John QT! Keeping M80 in the game. M80 put everything into that last round, Keg, and it paid off.
That's right. If they had not won that round, we were looking at pistols for match point for TSM's favor. But now TSM, they have competition again. We have not seen M80 win a defense round up until this point, and it's been such a difficult journey to get there. But again, holding down C, playing a solid retake, playing off of each other a lot more than we've seen with less utility reliance that last round. And TSM, they hadn't done anything different. It was still the Corey pre-show, even completely bypassing the alarm bot. It was too delayed for even the Bladestorm. TSM thought for sure that was going to be their match point. But now, things have gotten heated up once again. TSM are aiming towards main and mid again.
I mean, you see the switcher from M80. Are you kidding me? 4 players on the A side. 1 player in the back of B, though. They haven't exposed any of these players on A. They're desperately looking for John QT. The Owl Drone getting closer. Corey finally going down in the dark cover.
And they back out. TSM are not going to go towards B. They're playing into the alarm bot.
The alarm bot is going to be there, but again, because of the beginning of the round, there's no one even on C. They're going to use a lot of util to get their way out of here. I would like to hope, but actually Hayes has no smoke, so okay, they do use a lot. They use the ulti.
Yeah.
They could have used it for a post plant. They didn't have the information. They could have used a recon bolt too that had just recharged.
But now they can use the recon bolt for post plant.
Yeah, they can. It's a lot of potential though. 5v3. They're looking to shut it down early though. What is that peak?
Oh, GMD, good for 2. Can he make it 3? Oh, but he can't. 3 headshots.
No, this is it though. Wow. Nature trying to hold down the line. I mean, that was the battle. M80 decided after the first 2 kills go down, they just have to take on all of those contacts at once, and Nature was forced to get into that 10th round going back to M80. And the situation that I mentioned before for TSM in terms of economy, or excuse me, for M80 in terms of economy, might be TSM soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a back and forth ping pong economy coming out right now, but I want to mention M80, their 4-stack on A. Really big gamble, relying essentially on John solely to cover the leftmost side of the map. That alarm bot spelled wonders, but luckily that flank was able to be disrupted. The tripwire was there and slowed down M80 slightly. But let's see again. Another gamble stack. This time, John situating themselves out inside of C, no longer on B. And now it's going to be a gigantic group battle. Gus, I hope your lungs are ready.
There. Can he dash? Yes, he can. Koala Noob is there. Corey now getting dark covered, or excuse me, getting paranoid. Koala Noob needing to back up once again. Xander still gets a frag. How does he run in and get 3? 3 from Xander. I was surprised when he got 1. I was shocked, frankly, when he got 1. How does he get 3? Spike is fully in the hands of M80 and TSM left with 2. And you look at the credits down the line.
Oh, look at Hazed. Far back in the trenches of defensive spawn.
You can't do anything with this, though. M80 have isolated this. They're compensating for this. They're giving them A. They gave them mid.
And really, only Koala Noob is watching A long. Yeah, there's also EU too, but keep in mind, there's no fact of tradability. Shrouded Step was already brought down. Hayes trying to be as silent as possible. Seven's there to help out too. You can't even go for trades. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. 30 seconds left on the clock. They're looking for the anti-flank there, but no one's going to be around. Everybody on M80. -1 stacked up outside this spike, waiting to see who approaches.
It's such a difficult to contemplate economic scenario. Realistically, actually for... Not really for both teams. M80, they're going to get this win. I'm seeing like the hundreds down the line here, but they're going to get almost 3,000 credits here for winning this round. They're going to have more than enough if they end up losing the next round, if TSM pushes it to the 12-11. But more importantly here, how is TSM in this round going to redistribute their economy? How much are they going to have into the next round if they lose? M80, they themselves had a huge comeback put against them last week. They could be doing it themselves.
Good chance for a timeout here. TSM are going to opt to do that. Nature and GMD fairly close to their ultimates. And keep in mind, John QT already has that lockdown in play. John is playing by themselves, holding down both B and C for at least the last 2 rounds. And those have been successful for M80. But now
he can easily do that because he could just shift right into Link and use the lockdown, right?
Exactly. But here's the thing, though. Depending on when John uses that lockdown, that might be a great opportunity to maybe even bring it out early to make sure either Nature maybe uses that Hunter's Fury, or GMD, in the process of trying to help out Nature, might try to go for the Rolling Thunder too. That would make things a lot easier from M80 to hold down a site. And so far, for their successful rounds, Gus, that's what they've been opting to do in order to take the victory. They're holding down the site. They're not overextending. And we talked about how both these teams in these last few weeks need to clean up their act and play a little bit more patient and more cleaned up for the micro game. And now that M80's had their own timeout, they have worked wonders of not overextending and playing much more of a disciplined game.
Yeah, a little more, right? Because M80 have been getting picked out of long, but again, they're just playing it in a little bit more of a controlled fashion. Instead of playing just the one long, they're playing it two instead. Over towards short, they play up the breach now instead too. They're actually backing him out, and they have actually left Xander over in short, even though we've seen Xander multiple times go for potentially a C hold, but here comes the play already over in C. It's only Koala Noob in the middle of sight to hold it down. He has to back on out. This is what we were waiting for, though. 11 to 11, 5v5 retake, and John QT starts it with the lockdown. Is anyone going to go to the back of sight? Is anyone going to stick around for this crossfire? You do have the Omen waiting in the middle of sight, waiting to see if anyone's coming in, and Hazed is going to TP on out, back over to word spawn, but oh my goodness, what an idea from Hazed. Misses out on the lockdown, but here comes potentially the defuse. John QT has to watch the cross. He's stunned, and he still gets the kill onto GMD. 3 players left. Corey in a 1v5, and he has no chance. M80, all 5, overwhelm C.
Oh, think about where we've come from up until this point. TSM, a flawless attack up until the last rounds, and now M80. They've been able to gain round after round after round, just playing a teeny tiny bit slower. And I mean, of course, we gotta mention John's lockdown, right? John QT's lockdown there. 5v5 retake, like you said, worked out so well to displace TSM that even though they had ultimates themselves, Hayes couldn't find the information off of Into the Shadows, was forced to dial back. Koala finding that pick too made sure that, again, TSM were losing pivotal utility in the post plan that they really needed. But now here's the big test. One round left for M80 to break these into the next step, but EU's good for the opening pick. 7 goes down. And now M80, Gus, they can flank all they want. It keeps going. Another one. TSM. They've lost Hazed.
The sharpest hunter in the Sahara. It's EU using the Hunter's Fury. I mean, he is almost every single time. It's almost a meme at this point. How much usage he gets out of his Hunter's Fury. Almost every single time he's able to either get damage, double kill, triple kill even. This time, of course, gets the first frag, needs more. 2 players are going to be the ones crossing over that B side. It's the Odin, but GMD exposes John QT, and it's going to do the exact same thing to EU. What a play from GMD.
It's a 3v3 though. A little bit of a low of 45 left, but B side looks like it's in TSM's favor.
They have Rolling Thunder still, too. This is such a good scenario here for TSM. And the Hunter's Fury is going to be in the hands of nature off of this plant.
TSM want overtime. It's up to Corey.
They have so many scenarios where they can take it into overtime. So many conditions. And it's all working out. Rolling Thunder going in. Shots from Koala Noob. They miss out. Can't combine now. Xander looking to run away from GMD. GMD doesn't get the kill, but Koala Noob needs to walk out on his lonesome. TSM, a 5v3 turned into a non-v3 to push it to overtime.
All right, I gotta ask you guys, do you think we're gonna see a solid overtime from one of these teams, or are we gonna go back and forth, double, triple, quintuple OT?
Look, all I know is that I'm here for the goddamn ride. 12 to 12. Overtime has been reached in yet another gigabanger. We were looking for the 2 teams earlier today. The two teams who were unsigned going into the season. We thought that they would put up a more even battle. M80, however, they've established themselves as a top 2 team going into this season, and they have been pushed into overtime by TSM, who is hot on their flank. This is so fun.
It all comes down to this, though. M80, they found so much success on their attack. And right away, already stifled in their tracks. Recon Bolt spots out Xander. A reset back over to B. Keep in mind, M80 only went for 1 B take. And that was the very last round of regulation on their side. And there it is. Flashpoints are out. They were saving it for overtime. Hayes is by themselves. Him versus the world.
So much damage off of that first spray. There's so much damage being done onto M80. EU He has the pick over in mid, but he could go down with fresh HP. That is now 4 players lit up now for M80, but TSM opting to leave the anchor on C7 with all the util that he would like in front of him. And it might only be him. No one from TSM has reacted to the camera going down. And it's going to be all 5 for M80. It might be yet another one of those big retakes.
Oh, wow. It might have been, but 7 goes down. All that utility now lost. A 4v5 potential for the retake here. Look at half of TSM. They're over on A. They have to go around the entire world, but the spike is going to keep ticking away. It's up to these two, Corey and Hayes, by themselves to hold out for just a few seconds, Gus. But they have to push into the
low
group.
HP. Look at this 3-man crossfire in the back. Nismo's ready! Right next to him, Nismo's the one that gets the kill. John QT there too, and now there's only 2 players remaining for TSM, but look at the frags from Nature. Nature is taking this all the way back from a 2v5 to a 2v3. Koala Noob over and long. There's still a lot more pressure to take on. Nature, he gets another kill here, and he could get the Hunter's Fury, but it just won't happen. GMD 1v2, nowhere to go. 70 HP, but Koala Noob will never peak this, and the time is already gone. M80 open up overtime with a dub.
Oh, a strong dub at that. I mean, taking out 7, not a great start for TSM in their defense. They did their best to hold down the fort. They played together in a retake, but even then, that 4v5, it just snowballed. And there's so much C-long potential here. Look at Koala Noob. A great shot. The reaction time, I mean, we had to slow it down because it looked like in frames getting that flick down. And even with GMD getting so much done at the very end, it just wasn't enough. But now, again, big litmus test. Are we going to see M80 close out here 14-12? Or is this going to be a super attack-sided Haven yet again?
Oh my goodness. It might just be TSM. They're at least taking control here, and they're not giving away too much information. Xander, we've seen him in this position before, but Xander, it was a tragedy the last time it happened. Are they going to hard clear him? Is Nismo going to take away the attention? Nobody is over towards long. It's 3 players holding it down short. Here comes the first pick. Xander going to be able to get both. 3 players remaining for TSM. GMD needs to be a hero. He just walks out with Spike. No.
Oh, no. There's only 2 left.
Not like this. Not like this. A 2v5 and they need to recollect Spike?
And that's deep into A. By themselves, too. We do see Corey reapproaching with Nature. That dark cover separating themselves in the entirety of M80.
You might as well just be the ultimate crossfire to shut this down.
They're using everything.
30 seconds left.
Every piece of utility trying to gain space, but Corey's the only one left. Good for one, sure, but it might be in vain, Gus.
It might just be. Corey. Again, no chance. This was 8-4 going into the second half. TSM takes that 8-4 and flips it 8-11. Since then, M80 win 5 rounds out of 6. It's an incredible finish to the first half, for the first map, excuse me.
80, they're relying on flashes, info, and of course a little bit of Koala Noob action to bring it home.
For a sense, sure, I go for it, I guess. I'm honestly quite curious on how they're going to be able to do this. Again, there's no possibility for a 1-man anchor unless you're really depending on Astra to do so. But here we go. It's going to be 4-player pinch back over in mid. If this is the way the M80 are going to play for the rest of the game, we're going to have a real fun time. Fast pinch going into the mid side. 2 players go down, but it's the 1 lurker back over in A. Gets a random frag. TSM cut it down to a 1-man disadvantage.
Yeah, look at the cut tempo now from TSM. A minute left on the clock. Assessing their options, even on a pistol round. What they don't know is that B site's completely clear, but they're going to choose to regress towards A on the extremities of tree and also A main itself. Oh, but Nismo looking around, just had the contact in the back. Nismo's there, flash drive is out, but no one's on the other side. He's just barely surviving after the aftershock and GMD falls.
It's still going to be that kill coming back from Nature. Still a 2v3, but Xander gets the frag over onto Hayes. Spike will go. We were anticipating the 2v3. Haze frag is so important. 1v3, no one is close. Nature doesn't have any shock darts, however.
Okay. Recon bolt is down. It's going to tell Nature, hey, no one's in the immediate backup defense spawn yet.
Oh my goodness. Oh, they're all going together in on stairs. They could be the isolated battle. On to join QT. What a shot from Nature. Both players are down low. 40 HP, 74 HP. Diffuse coming in for Noob. He's still holding it. It's not even planted for him.
Oh, a good attempt from Nature, recognizing, hey, there's nothing on B side. A hasn't worked out very well, at least in the small little scenario at the end of the first round. But M80, that's a really good showing of probably what we're going to expect to see in the late round for at least most of their defense. Everyone's grouped up together in this little squad, caravanning from one site to all the way to the other. This is going to be a big rotate heavy map, Gus, and I'm super excited to see what TSM can play maybe for those entry points, but again, I'm expecting to see a lot more mid play, and from M80's end, we're going to see a lot of contact plays going every round.
Again, we have to go back to the no sentinel point then. With so many rotations, you can't rely on just one player having the hold, but John QT, you can absolutely trust on him to be a human turret. 2 kills going his way. EU around the corner, sharp with a couple of headshots. There you go, M80 able to keep at least their economy clean going into the next TSM. Like you said, Keg, I really do want to see like how proactive are these guys going to be on the early contact? How proactive are they going to be on the default? Because again, surely M80 can't be comfortable right now. The way that TSM ended up playing Haven, as we get a pause, the way that we saw them play Haven, I mean, it was a little more aggressive than we would expect, and that actually ended up giving away a lot of maps or a lot of rounds that we didn't expect.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the word proactivity, because we're probably not going to see a lot of reactivity from M80 here. Usually a lot of that reactivity comes out from having sentinels in play, especially on B site. You can bring down a KJ, it locks everything down, makes the site almost uninhabitable for these attackers. But when you don't have a sentinel, you pretty much have to rely on gunfights to win the majority of these rounds. Now, we've only had 2 rounds to judge it so far, and both those have been heavy gunfight rounds coming from M80. So for TSM, even through this pause, you know, it's a good time for at least you and I to kind of think about, okay, what can TSM do in this very precarious situation where you don't have to rely on something like a Killjoy or a Cypher against you, but instead you have to play for the gunfights.
Right, I'm just thinking real quick here of the util potential, because it seems like they've taken, instead of the Killjoy, they've opted for the breach instead, and they've opted for pretty much triple initiator in terms of Nismo, John, and EU. I mean, it is such a deadly combo on that attacking side, but I mean, on the defensive side, I'm still trying to think here. Are we just going to have M80 not be as fluid? Are we going to see them pretty much just hold on to these sites with men pretty much the entire round? Is that going to affect TSM on their rotations? Are they going to be more scared now to take up the entire map because they think a contact is in a certain place hidden?
But keep in mind too, without a Killjoy, a Sentinel of any kind, mid is a lot more open, and we can see that already from GMD and company, but EU is prepared for it. They're not even ready for B main at all. Koala Nude's on the other side.
Big kills coming in for Koala and Nismo, the combo of the flash, swing, same thing with Nismo. It works out at least for the 2 kills, 3 kills over towards the mid side, but Nature still looking to fight it back. Koala Noob down to 21 HP. His teammate Hazed got into a 1v1. Xander was very close with a cheeky shotgun, but wasn't able to get anything out of it. The 2 players, though, they have they're re-exec back into mid. There goes the smoke, there goes Prowlers. So much utility here from M80 to try to hold off this spike, and they still very much have it, even though, of course, they don't know yet. Oh, what?
Is that Nebula protecting everyone from each other right now?
They see it now. They're coming back. Another Nebula.
Nature's going to try to go for it. Nismo, blind shots through the Nebula, does acquire the spike. It's a mad dash back over to A, but Hayes is already... Oh, no.
Oh, so close.
Oh, no.
QT. Almost with an easy frag. It could have been Hayes, though, to open up this entire round. Instead, 1v4 now for Nature. Oh my goodness. Actually, he gets this plan here. He gets 2 out of the 4 frags. He has a Hunter's Fury. So it is
Deja
a
vu.
little weird, actually, if Nature could actually win this or not. It is low here on Qualinoo, 1v4.
No way! Over before it even started. I mean, there was that tension in the air. Yeah, it's a 1v4, but, you know, had there been a reality where M80 gave Nature a bunch of 1v1s, like you said, that was entirely doable. But at the end of the day, M80, with their comp, they cannot play those 1v1s whatsoever. And we haven't seen an instance where they've been in that situation. Even the communication that we had seen, the micro play of Hayes pushing up in the tree, the communication where Nismo was able to go for that trade was so pivotal because it didn't open up the round like you said, Gus. 3 rounds now for M80. And it brings into the question, again, a team without a Sentinel, setting themselves up essentially with these 3-2 splits every single round. They're prepared for these gunfights. And again, double flashes coming out for both Nismo and John QT. Makes these entries almost impossible, but Kawala's there for 3, shutting everything down before the round even starts.
51 HP, looking for the ace. He's trying to peek on out, but okay. This is the M80 that we expected on this map. Again, it's a playground for Qualinoo. These are the type of picks, these are the type of pushes that Qualinoo, again, it's his bread and butter. A lot of the clips we see is just him holding W. It's not going to be an ace, but it is going to be the round for M80. I want to see that more. Qualinoo hasn't even pulled out the op yet.
And an important factor too is that M80 is not allowing TSM to breathe at all these matches. Every single round, albeit 4 rounds in, have just been immediately pushing up. Look for as many kills as you humanly can, and if you need to, back off. But the only time TSM have been able to have a bit of a pause was whenever the spike was lost or they're already at a supreme disadvantage. And M80 themselves, they're swapping up their plays every single round to keep TSM on their toes. There's no sense of conditioning at all here for TSM to work off of. They're starting from scratch every single round. But they are defaulting here.
Yeah.
Looking to see if they can find a pattern, anything at all, a crumb of a strategy against M80. And mid seems to be the best option. They've been able to make a lot of space thus far in the last few rounds off of this. Nismo was there a few rounds ago to open up the round off of mid, but this time attacking both the extremities of mid and tree itself. There might be a prime opportunity for TSM to find the opening pick.
They did scale up into Cat, but they're doing the exact same over towards mid. EU gets the pixel. Qualinoo has walked all the way out of B main. They have all the information in the world. They know that they're still stuck up in mid. They re-cleared Cat. Now it's TSM. Isolated, but M80, this isn't exactly the strongest hold. There's still only 2 players back over in B. But 40 seconds left. Keg, is there enough space for them to do this?
I don't know. Look at this. Everyone's holding different angles. John QT well aware now the flashes are still out. Everyone from M80's alive, and now the spike is stuck.
What is their plan? How do they pull this off? 25 seconds left.
There's 3 on A.
Yeah, 3. They have the crossfire, but it's... I mean, they still might anticipate people coming in from A main, but it's going to be Heaven alongside Cat. There goes the kills. Hayes gets 1 back. Corey's there for the trade back in Cats. But M80... not a lot of issues whatsoever. They just had to play the trade game in terms of having 3 on site. But, yeah, TSM, they tried to find an alternative gap, and it didn't work out for them, to say the least.
I kind of get what TSM is going for, though, because with mid open, with no utility there, there's a lot of information that can be found from M80's side, but there was no info-based util against TSM in that very particular angle near the defense spawn. So if you rotate around, you might be able to just barely squeak out the over-rotation from M80. But the thing is, we haven't seen M80 over-rotate. They're just sticky on site. They know they have the advantage. And so TSM, they realize mid and tree aren't going to work. They're going to try a straight-up A-shot. But Nismo has no command. That can shut down all of this utility at once.
Yeah, but this is the round where Nismo would use it. And indeed he does. 2 players come out. Nismo gets another one for his troubles. The Stingers have no chance. M80. 6 rounds in a row here over TSM. But again, let me remind you guys, in the first map, 6 out of the first 7 rounds went to M80.
And I'm going to open up the wizard curtain a little bit and talk about how you and I were thinking, okay, you know what, on the slower rounds, we could discuss the storylines, discuss, you know, how TSM was around, but there hasn't been a dull moment yet.
There hasn't been a slow round.
M80 is mowing down TSM like blades of grass. But there is a chance to breathe now. TSM go for the first time out. They're down 6 rounds. At best, Nature and Haze are tied for 3 kills. There hasn't been anything yet for them to work off of. And so M80, they're looking pretty dandy right now.
Yeah, I was going to mention this earlier with TSM. I mean, the bigger issue, and you were mentioning it too, just as an expectation, as a hope that Corey would be able to pop off on this map. But specifically on Ascent, on the attacking side, I mean, overall on the map, we ended up getting a 15 and 15 scoreline from Corey. Not bad. On the attacking side, though, where they had already taken 6 rounds, Corey had only contributed 6 kills. The very important part, though, is that it was 5 first kills, all in the hands of Corey. The thing is TSM even putting Corey in these spots for success? Is M80 even giving them these opportunities to take on that first contact? We're not seeing it. The dissipation of pressure from M80 has been stellar.
No, Corey is definitely attempted to be set up, but a lot of this is coming down from the mid-rounding of GMT, but there's no time to talk for that. Seven's there for the opening pick, but now there is a chance to breathe. Everything goes to a standstill. M80 are not pushing up. They're giving TSM space. The majority of them almost stuck up outside of A.
Xander the Opper. Of course. You expected those words to come out of my mouth?
Yeah, the Asher Op, of course.
Yeah, of course. The 4 players over to Words Heaven with no Sentinel. It makes sense. Nismo, however, going for the spray, but the Cosmic Divide, it covers up the spike entirely. This could just be it. M80 are trying to fight for all of this. The lockdown is closing them down. The lockdown is trying to detain everyone, and they were forced to push. The ultimate counter. It's why KJ is so important on this map. The lockdown for retakes on both the attacking and defensive side is pivotal.
You're right. You're completely right, but here's the thing. You can bring out KJ and use the lockdown and pretty much secure yourself around, but you can't rely on the lockdown every single round. And I'm glad they found success on TSM's side, getting their 1 round with it, but that's not a win condition you can rely on all the time. There is a Hunter's Fury coming out from Nature, and that's also a good starter. But now Kuala Noob also has the Operator. We've seen the shutdown potential from M80, and it's strong. Nebula's up blocking Kuala Noob's line of sight, but hazed. They make that false step and jump into it. Oh no.
Ooh. But Kuala Noob's just gonna get overwhelmed in general from this right angle. Oh, this is perfect. It was.
Heard the owl
Smoke
drone.
Dissipates. They might expect it. The shot goes in.
No!
The shotgun off. Now Kuala Noob has his knives. He has a mid full of attacking players looking for knives to their heads. And EU, he looks to have some fun too. The fault line comes in. Takes away 1. GMD is completely flashed. This is starting to look fun for M80 out of nowhere. 7 on his lonesome, though, could have a firing range. He does! 3 kills for 7. He's pulled back the round entirely.
We talked about Corey's
steering left
setups.
for post.
A big distraction. 25 HP for 7 to work off of. Nature still has Hunter's Fury.
They let the jet go by. Nature might go down.
Oh no!
Nature's gonna go down.
Nature!
And 7 is done. A huge, huge opportunity to see TSM slip away around from M80. Instead, M80, they do complete the dominant round that they started in mid.
Wow. I mean, where do we begin breaking down that round? Is it Kuala Noob finding the shotgun up? Or did that slow crawl to the side at the very end? M80, they're relying on a lot of map presence. They're relying on somewhat solo plays. I won't call them hero plays because oftentimes it's TSM kind of giving that to them. But 7 there, a really good attempt to bring this back. But when you're just able to swerve around the site, bypass the default spots that Killjoy utility normally goes down into.
Absolutely.
TSM, they don't have much of a response. They have to have that awareness. And now it's a 6-round difference again. The setup is right where it started last round. Kuala Noob much more aggressive, but misses the shot.
And Corey with his own op, starting to go wild. Double for Corey. Now the last 3 members of M80, all stuck on the A side of the map. They don't know that B is open though. And they might actually opt to give 7 potentially an ult orb here and try to take this with the ulti. What a shot!
It connected!
Are you kidding me?
No way, this kitten's no joke, Gus. And it's Nismo all by themselves.
What a nade.
It stalls everybody. But Nismo's by themselves again. Cosmic Divide is out.
They didn't go for the ult orb? Okay, interesting. They're giving Corey knives instead. Here we go, 7. Gonna be on the front side of the push. Here comes Nismo. Gonna be able to get the first. There's still 3 in short. And Nismo is taking down 2. The kills do come back for TSM. But M80 have given themselves a chance. 1v2. Hunter's Fury alongside the knives to face on. But Koala Noob with an op can isolate just the 1 contact. Just a 1v1. And he can't do it. What a shot from nature.
TSM, through the skin of their teeth for the 2 rounds so far, have been able to take over B site. But again, it hasn't been an easy journey. Nismo nearly clutched it up themselves, solo holding on B after rotating through all the utility they had in their arsenal, and even that wasn't enough. But when you end 2-1 at the very end, TSM have only found a single lifeline on their attack to reliably use to take rounds away. And now look at this. A little bit more of a stack up presence outside of B, but still A is the way to go. I'm looking at the ultimates now. A lockdown again from 7 could be good for B, but there's a lot of mind games that come out here. Not including Koala Noob with it op. That's 2 rounds in a row with the shots miss.
Rare is all I can say about that. You do not expect that from Koala Noob and Xander. Getting overwhelmed. Whoa, whoa, what is this lockdown?
Okay.
That's such a deep lockdown to try to take Cat, maybe? But this lockdown is going to go down in an instant, and it's not a fake for A either. Nismo's still trying to hold down Cat. It's going to be 2 players here on A. Does this work? John QT doesn't want it to work. That's for damn sure. Double kill coming out of Cat, and Koala Noob still has a pick over towards A main. The Rolling Thunder that they were thinking of using is still being saved.
All that's left now is nature. The mad dash back over to B. Look, I've said this before. I'll say it for a 3rd time. It's deja vu.
Well, listen. We've had the Hunter's Fury in this man's hands in a post plant 3 rounds in a row now. This is the 3rd. This time, he has shock darts. He has his recon already charged. He has the Hunter's Fury. This is a round where nature absolutely needs to come up big and show off why he's on this agent.
He's holding for the flank right now. He has that recon bolt. Now, keep in mind, the big X factor here is John QT's Rolling Thunder.
Oh, no. I think he's already been spotted. Koala Noob getting in. Nature down to 72 HP. Still put up quite the fight. With TSM, or excuse me, M80. They have the op! Nature, no chance in L. 8-2 going back to M80. They saved the Rolling Thunder too. This half can only get worse here for TSM.
This has been a poor showing so far. But again, nature does have the Hunter's Fury. We had seen 7 go for an interesting lockdown outside of Tree, to say the very least, that last round. But if they keep using their ultimates this aggressive that early into a round, I'm probably thinking maybe the Hunter's Fury won't be any different. We might see that on A again, disrupt the placements of M80 for A site, and maybe as a distraction over to B. But no. We're not seeing that just yet. Actually, nature does have the spike outside of Catwalk. It's a possibility. But Koala Noob's on the other side, just in case.
What? What is this position? What is this position? Okay. Double gelato. TSM, you almost had the Sova checking it real quick, but it's going to be the mid take instead. The rotation is coming back for John QT. John QT might get spotted, and the classic takes him down. Here we go. 2 players only on B. One of them even got spotted over towards B main. Does Koala Noob expect the pistol around the corner? 7 might get the frag. Nice shotgun frag. TSM have instead opted to go through spawn. And M80, the 2 players who were playing up on A, or excuse me, in Gelato, they stay in A main.
Yeah, Nismo and Xander, the X factor for this round. Hayes, 2 classic kills this round.
That's
and
me.
Now, They have to go B. They don't know where the last two are. The one area that check this A-main and Nature spots them.
No way. 40 seconds left. They're still going for it. Xander is able to get the first frag. There's another one trying to re-exec over in heaven. They have no idea where Nismo is. Nismo, please. Hey, oh, he's cooking. Let the chef cook. Oh my goodness, he might have burnt it.
No. Look at this. Two are rotating back over to B, and it looks like GMT might stay. Nismo's going around the entire world, going back to B main. They could save. They could save their rifle. They could
Actually,
make their way over.
Wait.
But look at where Hazed is.
He gets his first pick onto Hazed. And we could see the null command retake, nullifying the Hunter's Fury maybe. But Hazed picks up the op instead. I mean, he's a classic opper, secondary opper at that. TSM though, the crux of it is that they have 3 rounds back in their hands. Worst case scenario was about a 9-3, and they've pretty much pulled it back.
This has been such a topsy-turvy half. TSM have been pulling whatever stops they can to take mid control, and it's been working successfully if no one's playing in market from M80 side. And now we have a double push up from M80 inside of that same marketplace. I don't think the 0 point spots anybody out. Koala's there for that opening shot, yet again misses.
4 rounds in a row.
Yeah. But it forces TSM to back over into A side where there's not much of an M80 presence. John QT does have Rolling Thunder, Null Command, Cosmic Divide, everything you could possibly hope for this retake on M80s in their arsenal. EU's 1 away from getting Nightfall. So much information potential here for the post plan that they don't even need to hold A.
Absolutely. Of course, if we were looking at a KJ, it might just be a little easier. The lockdown would shut everyone back
I suppose.
automatically into A main, maybe.
I guess.
But we're gonna get the Rolling Thunder instead. Null Command coming in. They just deny the plan, actually. They don't want to wait. Koala Noob gets right in there. Double kill going his way. So much damage onto the man in pit. And Nature's the last one remaining in 1v4. Overwhelming TSM is M80. And Nature, sir, you've had that Hunter's Fury. For what, 5 rounds now? Surely.
Pretty much the whole half.
Well, surely you just pull an EU here and you just start x-raying people through the wall, right? I don't think he's doing that.
Oh, a single false step was there. And everybody from M80 emerges on A site. And I gotta say, I was expecting to see that Hunter's Fury come out at some point. There were a lot of prime opportunities where Nature could have found impact in those post plans, especially on B site, where the Hunter's Fury might not have been a win condition for TSM, but at least it could have added a few more, stats for the KD line at the very least. But I gotta say, you mentioned it perfectly, the very final round. Overwhelming was the name of the game for M80. I love the way they played their contact angles. And one point I've been meaning to ask you here, Gus, is that there was no Sentinel, again, for M80's defense. Does that make their comp more attacker-sided than what TSM has for their defense?
Yes. Simply put.
It's a hard yes, yeah.
Hard yes. Hard yes, because now they got the power. In a comp where you would usually only have the KO, you also now have the breach. It's so overwhelming here potentially for M80 if they just keep going for group takes. But they're actually going very early on for a bit of a mid split or potentially a B fake.
Good timing.
Oh.
With that recombo.
It might have been a bit intentionally late to take out that recon bolt.
It did spot at least one. So there was a presence outside of B. No one over-rotates just yet from TSM though. And this has been a common factor for both these teams. They don't over-rotate when they find presence on the other side. In fact, nobody on TSM's moved. All this utility is set up right outside A main though. Possible gravity well, maybe even a nebula. But all this comes down to the contact plays of A site. And really, GMD has to watch 2 very different angles all by themselves for that to go through.
Yeah, this is so tough for Hazed. How does Hazed take this? GMD does get the first frag, and so does Hazed. Trades going back and forth. Left. Corey now with the Sheriff. He mentioned that he wants to step up on this map. Will we see it? A couple of headshots should help. Body shot onto John QT. Nismo getting absolutely destroyed by Corey. There he is. The sharpshooter Corey pops off for 3. All three are gone by his gun.
And again, M80, information was spotted for them at the beginning of the round on the opposite side, but nobody on TSM deterred. They had a game plan in mind. They stuck to the game plan. And again, we talked about how at TSM, we were looking to see a lot of strats cleaned up from the last time they played in Challengers to now. And this is a really good start for the defense. They were able to play so devoutly into what they were planning on doing that they didn't move away. So again, if we can keep expecting those expectations to happen, I suppose, it really comes down to M80 to disrupt the mid-round plays for TSM. We haven't seen that yet. It's also only been one round. But now M80 are looking to pressure A main so much, and TSM, they're switching up the script. They're playing mostly offside of A, looking for contact mid.
Yeah, looking to retake. I mean, they know how aggressive these M80 players can be. They could easily get shut down. But TSM maintaining the trades back over towards that mid side. They know that GMD is also here on Cat. But come on. Come the heck on. TSM, you have the guns. You have the players. There's no way that all three of you who are watching A watch Cat instead and go down to Cat. They were playing the retake, but they played just a bit too much. Now they're facing an even retake against M80. Here we go. Fault line over into heaven. It's going to be the push of Xander. Xander! Double kill for make it a triple.
I mean, what's there to say for that round? TSM, they played a very dangerous game. They were looking for those gunfights mid. M80 did not care. They were looking for A site. They had a target in mind. They focused on it. They were able to succeed into the round, and now it's double digits for their side. A 6-round differential again. Usually by this point is where we start seeing the tack timeouts come by. TSM, not so much yet. In fact, they're going for what seems like a full eco thrifty round in their presence. Only a single sheriff litters that arsenal, and it's going to be going to Hazed.
It's going to be that retake setup again.
It has to be. But at least this time, we do get to see GMD and Hazed playing a little bit closer into A, especially Hazed, the most powerful weapon in their arsenal, being a single sheriff to work with. But actually, despite all of that, M80 are choosing to back out of A. They're looking to find presence in mid, and so far we see EU in the far back of B.
I think even weirder here is EU. He's getting so close into B, he hears a turret. He knows that util could be here completely for KJ, but again, it's a round right after TSM lost. Surely they don't have the eco to actually buy up the util they want. EU walking right by the turret. Nature is the only one here, and they done it right. EU, very good call.
Yeah, great call there. 7 had no utility besides that turret, and now it's full site control. No nanoswarms, no alarm bots to worry about. Just raw gunfights and single classics.
Could be a very fun round here for someone like Koala Noob. But Koala actually just goes right into their crosshairs. Reminder, there's still 5 players remaining here for TSM. Make it 4, make it 3. John QT going insane, and the Rolling Thunder is certainly going to help him out. Hazed in the smoke. Getting stunned. GMD no longer stunned. He's coming out with a classic.
Wow.
What is going on?
Gus, that round from TSM, they had a sheriff as their best weapon. A sheriff. And now they get to pick up a litany of free Vandals and Phantoms from M80. Sure, there's a big lead for M80, right? But when you lose a whole round when the best weapon's a sheriff, a singular one at that, for the retake, that's still a very telling sign of what to expect. Luckily though, M80 have plenty of time to clean up their act. They're gonna go and find some big rifles again, but again, now that's gonna be stuck in the back of my mind that TSM don't necessarily need better weapons to take back a retake.
No, certainly not. I mean, M80 though, I mean, they got confident. They did the thing that Koala Noob said. Koala Noob heated up and he went into the back, went into spawn. In an even retake, mind you. In a 5v5. Still TSM. I'm actually gonna give a big gift here to M80. Not a single person in the middle of A, and Koala Noob already up in heaven. Gonna pick up 1 kill. 2 players rotating in. There's a chance here for M80. Out goes the swing from 7 alongside the Owl Drone. GMD looking to shut it down, and John QT just getting a sneaky little frag from the Stinger, and there goes the flank too. EU is here to take down.
Oh, EU!
No, whoa, okay, never mind. Not both. 30 HP though on GMD. has to run away. I mean, that's a great response round from M80. But again, round after round, they've gone B. They've seen that KJ util on B. It could have easily been on A, but they evaded it, and not a single person was here.
Yeah, so the big question going into this next round is, what are the adaptations for TSM going to be? Are we going to see 7 start stacking up utility on A site? That's going to mean there's less utility inside of mid. It puts these Sentinels in a really weird spot because it's like, KJ's so good at locking down B, like ridiculously good. And then when you have the mid presence right nearby, you can play off of it, but you sacrifice A site. And when you swap mirror mode match onto A site, you don't really get that same mid presence anymore, and GMD does eventually fall. But if we do see 7 make that adaptation, that's going to allow M80 to recognize that mid might be a lot more open. And we saw TSM on their own attack, what they could do with mid site, and maybe they're afraid of that happening to themselves.
Maybe, but again, TSM, it's pretty early on the defensive half, and we just haven't seen any opportunity for that adjustment to happen, for
that's true,
that KJ change to happen. So that's, I mean, there's really no worry for M80 right now in terms of where util could be at this point. They just like the early contacts and just finding out who is where. They're gonna walk into A, they're gonna get this contact, they're gonna see Astra, KO, simple as that. They're gonna have a free route in.
Oh, no fear at all. Koala pushes in. Zaze is the only one defending on A site, and both those defenders fall.
So light for M80. A lot more work to do. Again, the classic alongside the Stinger. Here we go. EU around the corner on the outside of the smoke!
Wow!
Corey! How does he do that? A 1v2 for Corey! Flick to the other side of the site!
Was that important?
2 bodies were here, 1 second, they're gone in another! Corey, you beast!
And everything we just talked about for M80's favor, just throw it out the window that last round. The reliance for TSM to use their Sentinel play to hold down B site, all of that.
Please tell me we have an angle on Corey, by the way. Production, please.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay, that's okay. We can just imagine it in our heads. And I mean, knowing Corey, we're probably gonna see that again. Because I don't think it's the end of TSM.
He'll probably tweet it later if they win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this isn't the end of TSM. If they can get that fire in their bellies again, they did a full 2-person down retake, and now they're playing much more aggressive than we had seen before.
The Corey op.
Oh.
Ready for the first pick, Koala Noob alongside Nismo. They might go for a flash peek, but instead, they go for the smoke exec instead, and GMD got a bit aggressive. 2 players from TSM have gone down early. Very important agents at that too. KO. Less retake now. 7. Less defense now. Nature might go down too. What's this?
Oh, but keep in mind 7's gone, so it's Nature to hold MB almost by themselves. The recon bolt goes down, but no information's going to be seen.
Cool. They might peek right into him. Nature. Oh, and he makes a lot of noise walking away. The fadeaway. It works for Nature. A 3v3 now. Is he going to stay alive? He's still holding for the headshot angle onto Nismo. And Nismo goes all the way down to 46 HP. Shot in from Corey. And we have an even 2v2. Reminder again, a 5v3 into a 2v2.
Cosmic Divide goes down. Nismo essentially by themselves. Gets that spike into the ground.
Enemy remaining.
Gets the first. The pick has to come back from the op. It's very possible, though. Gets it! Corey dashes away! Nismo couldn't get the angle onto Corey! The crossfire almost works! But Corey now, 46 HP, doesn't know where Nismo is. Oh my goodness! Peeks the angle where he was at, leaves Nismo at 46, but fortunately the chef cooks up a good one again.
Delicious plays coming out from Nismo. And now, and what could very well be the series finale of M80 versus TSM, they have 2 very pivotal ultimates to work with here, and TSM's going to go for a timeout. It's now or never. And we were talking about how Corey, we weren't seeing a lot of those aggressive plays in the beginning on their attack. But I gotta say, he's been really warming up with these op plays going into the defense.
Warming up? He's there!
He's been on. Okay, I was underestimating. He was on fire those last few rounds, but you can't rely solely on Corey. Yes, 17 and 13, fabulous to see. But the rest of TSM, there are times where even in these grouped up plays, you would expect him to win out the gunfights. But M80, they're just playing so overwhelmingly aggressive against the gunfights that more often than not, they do come out on top. But there is a silver lining, Gus. Lockdown, double null command,
Oh my
a
goodness.
lot of very, almost at this point, series-defining ultimates that can come out from either one of these teams that could change how things go.
Let me just re-emphasize this. Nismo, I haven't really said this. Nismo is one of the best defensive players in Valorant. I'll just stand on that. I stand on it. If you don't know his play with KO, if you don't know how instantly he can react with null command, and just with that one piece of utility alone, be able to control the entire flow of a round. With this ultimate now, he gets a contact on A. The M80 push here could just be shut down. Or excuse me, the TSM push, excuse me.
I mean, at this point, there are times where it feels like both these teams can be the same. It's almost symbiotic with how the gunfights go, the early round plays, even the mid round, but the post
plays
plan.
the same. I was gonna say that. Excuse me.
Yeah, they
GMD
feel
has
the same at times.
exact role, and he plays the exact same way. Sorry, I mixed up the names. But yeah, no, GMD. He hears that, gets that null command up.
But
He did
this
the
is where the
same thing
changes
when he
are.
used to play Breach, but over in mid. This is such a cheeky setup.
Face your fear!
Alarm bot here, same thing with the nanoswarm, but they get shut down. It was two players here. Nature, no chance. The lockdown is gone. GMD is rotated, and M80 have the frags they need to go into B.
Keep in mind, too, two stingers to work with here.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Sorry, Nismo.
Right.
He was ascending to a higher plane, but all that's left now, it's a one body difference, but look at the rifles. It's Vandals versus, well, now
Oh
a
my
rifle and
God.
Stingers.
And with the peek
Oh!
too, Corey! That was almost so
It's down to
smart from
hazed.
Corey. He almost dashed right back in, but now it's all hazed. A 1v3. And M80 get
Attackers
themselves
win.
a big win in week 2 of Challengers.
I mean, M80 just looked fantastic